You will never get me to disagree with the idea of getting out of the United Nations. Tony Katz, 93 WIBC, Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. Be sure to like the page. Oh, sure. Keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. These guys are just a bunch of worthless punks. Worthless punks. How else could it be described? Iran, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, and Pakistan. You know, the fun time gang. They were among those who voted on a resolution. And the resolution that they voted on here was to single out and condemn Israel as the only country in the world that violates women's rights.
What?
I can't make this stuff up. It was a resolution from the Economic and Social Council. And in this resolution, where they call for, they've called about the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. They have made the determination that it is Israel that is abusing women. Israeli occupation remains a major obstacle for Palestinian women and girls with regard to the fulfillment of their rights and their advancement, self-reliance, and integration in the development of their society. Israel, the occupying power, to immediately cease all measures contrary to international law, as well as discriminatory legislation, and so on, and so on, and so on. No conversation about the majority religion in the region. No conversation about Israel being the only place where women have full rights. No, none of those conversations. All in the guise of this idea of occupation, which I have never, of course, bought into because it's their land. But if you actually have a body that wants to say of the Middle East, Israel's the problem, but Syria is fine, Saudi Arabia is fine, Iran is fine, Yemen is fine. Well, my holy God, hell. Why would I pay attention to this group? Why would anybody? We have to know what they're doing because we have to know what they're doing. But the United States is going to engage funding for this? For this kind of garbage? For these clear kinds of lies? The difference between discussing policy and anti-Semitism is the difference between discussing policy and this. The well-presented anti-Semitism, what is given far too much credibility anti-Semitism, it is not about anything having to do with rationality. It has to do with people who hate Jews. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. We know this. And every single day the UN is allowed to act like this. It is codified. And then you've got people like Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar just filling in the gaps from the U.S. in their roles as members of Congress. Why do we talk about these issues? Because they do have to get discussed. Because we have organizations that are built to defend the most oppressive and attack those who offer the greatest democracy. And if that ain't messed up to you, well then, there ain't much hope for you. I'm Tony Katz.
Hammer